and your favourite podcasts.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Back of the net. Right, Chris.
No is the answer to that. I'm not all right. How the devil are you lot? Dare I ask? Dare I ask? It's Leicester Till I Die. We are live on Facebook, Leicester Till I Die, the group, Twitter at Leicester TID, and YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV. If you're not on YouTube, get over there, give us a subscribe, and let us know what you think of that game. 2-2, just. I said the other day that what we mustn't do is give Burnley the start because they'll just park behind the bus. It was unfortunate that we did, but we gave them that twice. And you know what? We were lucky at the end of the day. I've got a rant. You're not surprised, really, are you? I've got a rant, but to be honest with you, it's not about the scoreline. It was Leicester 2, Burnley 2. First of all, VAR owed us that. I do think VAR actually owed us that. But you know what? This is our start of the season, right? Wolves, we just managed to win. West Ham, we lost convincingly. Norwich, we won just. Man City, we lost. We played well, but you could say that might be a given. Brighton, we lost. Burnley, we drew. 7 out of 18 points. Should we have had more? I mean, it's probably one of the easiest starts we've ever had in the Premier League. And if we can only get 7 out of 18 points when we're playing, apart from Man City and West Ham possibly, bottom, what we would say would be going to be bottom half teams, something is wrong if we can only get 7 points out of that 18. Now, I'm not sat here and going, yeah, let's get Brendan out. But something needs to be done. Fancy football, we played well at times. We'll look at the stats later. You'll see how well we did. But to be totally honest with you, it's all about getting the goals. And we got out of jail free today. Let us know what you thought about the game. But that wasn't the rant. So get ready for this. Yes, indeed. One angry fox here. It's Chris's rant time. Now, you know I don't like cheats. And I don't like cheats on my own team. I hate cheats on my other team. I lost a lot of respect for Burnley today. I lost a lot of respect for Sean Dyche today. Cornet got injured just before half-time. What the fuck did he do? Walked back on the pitch and went down. Some would call it gamesmanship. I call it cheating. Burnley, you are dirty, cheating bastards. End of. Why wasn't Sean Dyche telling him to get off the pitch? Why wasn't his captain telling him to get off the pitch? Because you are scared to play football and you thought you could drag it out to half-time. You got what you deserved. You didn't get the points. And cheats never prosper. And that's what Burnley are. Burnley are cheats. Sean Dyche, you need to take a long, hard look at yourself. You seriously do. Because you got what you deserved today because you did not get the win. And you know what? You didn't deserve it. You really didn't deserve it after that. I was disgusted. And I've got a soft spot. Well, I had a soft spot for Burnley. I haven't anymore. They have lost my total respect. They get what they deserved. Really, really did. Shall we get on to the game? I've got a couple of people waiting to come in. We might want to ask Brad to just have a fag. We'll just see how our new reporter, Jason, I don't know if your camera's working, Jason. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Oh, there we go.
Well, yes,
in
full beauty. And let's say hello to Brad as well. How are you doing, Brad?
Hi, Jason. Welcome aboard the madhouse, because it's going to be a madhouse after this, mate.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not, mate. I'm not after that. I'm not okay, but yeah.
It's a massive disaster today. Disaster.
I mean, you were there,
Yeah.
Jason, and that's the idea.
Yeah.
And thank you for sort of sat in your car there waiting for me to have me rant, which are becoming.
That's all right.
They are becoming more and more regular these days, unfortunately, as Brad will tell you. I never used to have that. It's not good for my heart either. But, you know, first, can I just touch on that point? I mean, what was the reaction of the crowd to that? Because to me, it was disgusting.
Today, the crowd, I mean, after the game, I mean, obviously, I'm not sure if you could see it, but they booed again. It just, I think they're getting exhausted with the amount of the time that they're having. I mean, we're not even looking like a mid-table club down on paper. I mean, when you look at down on paper, Chris, you got Bertrand, Vestergaard, Soyunchi, Ricardo, and Didi, Samari, Tillemans, Lockman, Vardy, and Barnes. These are the kind of games that are at home, Chris. And, you know,
Yes.
we should be winning these games.
We should, and I mean, I said at the start there, and you know, I put it up on Facebook. You know, look at the start we've had. It's not been the most difficult start by any stretch of the imagination. You know, we've had, no disrespect to them, easy teams. The 2 wins we've had were lucky, let's put it that way. If Wolves had the shooting boots on, if VAR hadn't worked in our favour, we would have struggled. No doubt about it. On those games, we lost to Brighton. We lost convincingly to West Ham. We've got bigger teams coming up. We've got the Man Uniteds. We've got the Chelseas, the Liverpools. What's going to happen when we meet them?
Well, again, I mean, you look at the 90th minute, exactly how it was with West Ham. Again, I mean, we seem to drop off. And this is the problem. I mean, again, I mean, lucky enough for us, VAR was on our side. But again, you know, that could have been a 3-2 loss again. And we would have walked away from that game with absolutely no point whatsoever. But it's very worrying for me, Chris. And, you know, you look at the back line today. Now, down on paper, I had a really good feeling today. I mean, same, I spoke with the lads today. And I you know, I kind of thought, oh, we're going to go here today. We're going to claw these 3 points. I thought we're going to learn a bit more from the last game and the other game before that. But we seem to be holding back, and something's not right. I mean, you know, you look at the likes of Vestergaard and Soyuncu and Bertrand, no communication at the back. I mean, it looked woeful to me. I mean, I was really worried. I mean, at one point, I thought we'd probably be going like 3 or 4 down at one point. And, you know, it's scary stuff at the moment. And, you know, there was one guy that was sitting next to me. He had to look away a couple of occasions. He says to me, you know, the back line are looking as if they're not about to look. They're not looking. You know, it's like, and we are definitely missing Johnny Evans. That's for sure. 100%.
Oh, excuse me. My water, aka gin, went down the wrong way then. Brad, I mean, when I saw the team, I was really happy. And I'll let you ask Jason your question in a minute, Brad. But first of all, were you happy with the team?
minus not seeing the actor at the start. Yeah, I was, but then Samore came in and in the role he was filling, I was quite quietly confident. I've said it before, there's not many a Leicester 11 you could throw at me. Even with Jakupovic in goal, I feel that we could get a result or do well against oppositions. You know, Jason has just listed off a load of players from that starting 11 that should strike fear into the hearts of any opposition around Europe, let alone the Premier League. But my question to you, Jason, now, obviously, people that have been watching this show for a few years or however long they've been following will know in the last couple of weeks I've been saying that it seems to me that Leicester are far too predictable in how they go about approaching the first half and the second half. Not just the formation, because that's something that's obviously quite predominant. You try and stick with a formation so it settles in and works. But as a fan that's obviously able to go to the games as often as you do, or maybe even every week, you're able to go. Do you see the same sense that fans getting to watch it through their streams or listening to it on the radio or watching the highlights get, that Leicester are a bit predictable? Because it was better this first half at the start, but it felt predictable again. Yeah,
I mean, absolutely. I mean, obviously I looked at the period between the 25 minutes and the 35 minutes, and we looked quite strong. We were placing balls down the middle, left, right, and centre, and we seemed to be. Vardy seemed to be uncatchable. I mean, like I say, when he equalised, I mean, he slotted that perfectly. But again, we do seem predictable week in and week out, and I feel, I mean, you're absolutely spot on. You've hit the nail on the head, Brad. We are predictable, whether we like it or not. As a club, we've been worked out, and it seems to be the last 3 games. That's how it seems to be.
And
so you're spot on.
The worrying thing is that tomorrow Arsenal can go above us if they beat Spurs. This is Arsenal that, the fans are literally on walkout. I mean, like I said to you before, and talking of Arsenal, good evening, Luca. Leicester doing rubbish like Arsenal. I hadn't seen that when I mentioned it, but yes, we are. And Mumsy, good evening from Mumsy Talks channel. Your defence is shocking like Man United was today. I'm trying to grab something here sort of good. And, I could say maybe the performance was okay as we did sort of, have a lot more shots, etc. But we couldn't break them down. Obviously, because otherwise we'd have scored a lot more. And if a team that sat with 1 point, second from bottom of the table, can do that to us, we're not going to get very far in the Europa League. We're not going to get to Europe this year. Is this the season? Would you say, Jason, when it comes back and it says, "Come on, Leicester, just have a rain check"?
You see, Chris, I mean, as I say, this happened last season. These are the games that we need to be winning. And we're going to look back on this again later on in the future on the season. We're going to be looking back. I mean, it seems to be predictable season after season after season. We look at thinking we're going to finish top 5, top 4. And then we look back on these games and we look back again. These are the games that we should have won. We seem to be in a really vicious circle here. And I mean, it's like today's game. I mean, I heard that on the BBC Radio Leicester when I was listening to it as well. I mean, the first off, didn't we have like 68% possession or something?
Yes, it wasn't far off.
Guess what
just over 67. Yeah, just over 67. I mean, Brad hates this. I should warn you, Jason. Brad hates stats.
With a passion, mate. With a passion.
Yeah, with a passion. I mean, the thing with you can have all the stats in the world, but it's creating the goals and putting the goals in the back of the net. That's all it counts in every single football game, But
I mean, when you have a look, Jason. So if you look at that, we had 22 attempts on goal, which you would say is good, but only 23% of those were on target. Burnley had 9, 33% were on target. And I think a lot of that was whenever we got the ball in and we were crossing the ball in, it was bread and butter for Pope in goal.
You see, this is the thing. Burnley came here with a masterclass. As Brad said, We're being worked out left, right, and centre. And when you play against the likes of Burnley, the problem is if they work you out, you know, they're going to slice you like bread and butter. And that's exactly what's happened today. I mean, as Brad said, you know, it's kind of we have become a team where we are so easily worked out. You know, we seem to frustrate ourselves.
Yes.
You know, and it's very irritating.
Spot on. We do frustrate.
You know,
I mean,
we go on, Chris.
No, we say, Brad, frustration is probably a nice way of putting it. Thank you for not swearing. But, you know, is it the fact, have we really got no plan B? I mean,
we have a plan B.
Way and the fact
no woman's ever said that to me either, mate, so don't worry about
it. Go on, Brad. Let's see what you got.
We don't have the technology advances here at Leicester Till I Die TV that they do on the Sky. So excuse my nitty-gritty of the lines. Here's how Leicester went about, if you can see it. Leicester went about passing the ball in the first half. It was sideways, it was at the back. It was a little bit of a muddle in here, right? And then it got out to the forward men, and then as you can see there, we were just putting the ball in the box, hoping it bounced to someone, shooting from long range. We didn't have a clue. Here's the tactical genius that got a point against a team playing that sort of football. It was, there's the goalkeeper, there he is, Mr. Pope. Play it out to the back, send it long. Oh, and if you can't read that, because my handwriting's a bit crap, it was also stay down. Because that was the first half and second half. Do you want to know the only changes that happened in the second half? You see this little muddle here, where it gets a bit namby-pamby and a bit repetitive, where they're going backwards and in the middle and backwards and in the middle and side and left and right. We cut that out in the second half, and we kind of went a bit out the back, a bit more direct and a bit more forward. And guess what? Well, hey, we actually nicked a point from Burnley. Oh, wait, Burnley who were bottom of the point, and we nearly lost it. That's how predictable it was, mate. I drew that at half-time, and no one wouldn't have to change our graphic. Forget your Sky Sports. I'll save you money, mate.
I'm going to say, it's not exactly Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher there, is it, Jason?
No, I mean, Brad's spot on.
I get what you mean, Brad. We do get what you mean.
He is spot on, and I don't think many fans will disagree with what Brad's saying. I mean, you look at what some of the fans that are saying. I mean, it's dreadful. It's week in and week out, and we just can't continue the way that we're going. I mean, Lockman comes on. I mean, Lockman, for me, you know, it's pretty much, he's in there all the time. Absolutely fantastic player. He's done wonders. But then you got Bertrand he should have stayed at home, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't understand why Luke Thomas is not getting a shout in. You know, and
I've got to be honest with you. I do, up until this game, I've liked Bertrand. I thought he was great pre-season. He's got the experience. He can get a ball past the first man, normally at a corner and free kicks. And I hate to say that it was a bad day at the office, because I think we're saying that kind of a lot of weeks now, almost every week, and it's kind of I don't know. It's just, for me, like I mean, that kind of, say, Brad, that totally summed it up there with those graphics, and say graphics with those drawings. If you join the dots, what did you get? You know, but you know, it's, are we expecting too much? Because you could say we've been punching above our weight for 2 seasons.
No, I completely disagree. I think all Leicester fans now have an expectations. I mean, you look at the squad. I mean, you look what we have achieved over the last 3 years. I think as Leicester fans, we should be able to look forward to greater, you know, incomings on what we want to get out of the season. The problem is, if we're always going to be looking at where we should be and what we're never going to be moving forward as a club.
No,
you know, and I think with some of the players that we've got, it's can't really understand on, you know, there's got to be something that's wrong within the squad. That's for sure. You know, I mean, you look at Cornet. I mean, you look at Soyuncu, and, you know, Vestergaard. You look at the back four today. There was no communication when Cornet volleyed that straight in. You know, it was such an easy goal to put in.
Brad, I mean, taking it up on Jason's point there, Vestergaard, really had an awful game today. He was all over the place, and yet we'd brought him in supposedly because of his height, because of his stature. Tchaikovsky on the other thing was throwing himself left, right, and centre, blocking everything. Maybe we bought the wrong defender.
I don't know. I mean, I still think it begs the question that with Soyuncu's confidence that maybe Vestergaard's having, instead of having to work alongside Soyuncu, Brendan saying, look, I need to get Soyuncu's confidence up. I don't need him making mistakes. I need you to probably do the 60-40 or 70-30% of the defensive work. I've noticed something this season throughout the league, not just at Leicester, but yellow cards are easy to come by. I think there was a lot of cards today for both sides. And like I said, it's throughout the Premiership where some fouls you're thinking, really? And then you watch them and go, all right, yeah, maybe it's a foul, but really for the yellow card, I think there's a lot of pressure on defenders to not give away fouls, trying to stand up. That only benefits the striker. Thinking, oh, I don't want to give away an easy free kick, because if I do that, not only might they score from it, but I might get booked. I don't think Vestergaard's that command and conquer side yet at Leicester, because he doesn't know the players. Yes, he's been here for a couple of months, and obviously his experience, he should be up to that level or near to it, but he hasn't got the command and respect in the nicest way possible to him that an Evans has. And I think Leicester are really missing an Evans or a Fofana, that's someone that's just going to go, put your bloody foot through it, get the ball down and get that ball forward. I feel like Soyuncu, in the nicest way possible, in Vestergaard today, were given the cop-out of going, it doesn't matter if it goes back to Schmeichel, just as long as you don't lose the ball. But and in the end, they still lost the points.
I get your point, but Jason, I know Craig that obviously is one, does the preview show with me. His moaning about Evans is the fact that he doesn't put his boot through it, and so I don't know. It is, and should we be looking? And I've said this before about Soyuncu. Yes, Soyuncu plays very well with Evans, but should we be picking a player who plays well with? Only because somebody else, have we got another Kante stroke Drinkwater maybe?
But this is where you have to take leadership, and I think Johnny Evans has the leadership. I mean, as Brad said, when you've got Soyuncu and Vestergaard that are like pretty much, I mean, I wouldn't like to say the word clueless, but I just think the communication weren't there today. But as Brad mentioned, it's kind of like, oh well, don't worry about it. But that's where Johnny Evans comes in, and that's when he takes the leadership. And when Evans is on, we seem to have that a bit more. Yeah. But for some odd reason, we're not looking like a strong team. We're looking where they're now going to start coming to the King Power Stadium and say, well, Leicester are on a severe losing streak. Well, we think that we can get one on them, So I can understand it. And there's a lot of Leicester fans very frustrated right now.
Yeah, sorry, someone just messaged me something. It was completely to the wrong person.
Half of them probably only just realised that Wood's goal didn't count, to be fair.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I was doing one graphic to say full time, and then I was having to swap it to another one to say goal, and then swap it back again. But you know what you were saying about Vestergaard? Do you think the yellow card after 5 minutes, which, come on, it's a bit early for a bloody yellow card. It's 5 minutes into the game. And you could argue a yellow card's a yellow card, whether it's 1 minute or 89 minutes. But, he had to play 85 minutes having to be really, really careful. And good evening.
Is that the question to me or Brad?
Sorry, that was to Brad. Sorry, I said.
Yeah, I do. And I go back to my point that I made not too long ago. I feel that something has changed amongst the referees. Forget about the quality of refereeing. Let's talk about the officiating for a moment of their decision making. Across the Premier League, a lot of players are getting yellow cards for free kicks or fouls that aren't necessary. You could argue are a bit, well, he's just a bit late on in there, or he's only just caught the player. It's only just a foul, but they're getting maximum comeuppance for it in terms of a yellow card. And again, I don't know what's happened, whether they've had a referees meeting or something, But all of a sudden, a lot of games are favouring attackers because they know if they get nicked by the ball and go down, and that player's now got a 70% chance that he's going to go into the book. I mean, like I said, it wasn't just Leicester; it was Burnley players that were also going in the books for needless. Not, normally you could say, "Oh, well, Vestergaard, that was needless. He didn't need to do that. He deserves to go in the book." We're not saying that. We're talking about. I think Barnes got booked for nothing. Vestergaard, in my opinion, got booked for nothing. I'm not saying that they weren't giving away fouls, but I am saying that it doesn't warrant a yellow card. And I think the game has now changed where they're trying to skew it to maybe make football a bit more interesting, a bit more attacking, because they're not getting away with these decisions and the attackers are getting the favour of the decision. Because like you said, Chris, if you're on a yellow card, you're not going to lunge in. All of a sudden, you're going to try and use your body to push them out wide. And as we saw with the 2 goals Leicester scored, that Vardy was probably chasing down a defender on a yellow card. So he daren't go near him and slide in because A, doesn't want to give away a penalty, B, doesn't want to get booked / the second yellow and sent off. And the outcome, plus times and divide them all together and work them all out in whatever equation you want to, leads to a goal. And
I'm going to buy you one of these home computer things so you can do all the graphics.
It's a very, actually, Brad, he's mentioned a really good thing there, because if you look at the last 3 games, I mean, you look at what happened in the Napoli, you look at West Ham, and then obviously today. I mean, it seems to me, you look at the referees and they are dishing them out, and something has definitely changed.
I thought, to be honest with you, we were supposed to be sort of getting sort of less card happy this year and giving the advantage to try. I don't, maybe. I mean, like I said, I think it was Brad or Craig. I was watching ITV4, purely by chance, and it was the big match revisited, and it was Chelsea playing Charlton at the top of the second tier, Division 2, as was then. And I'll tell you something, there was tackles going in there without cards being given. And I know this is going to sound a bit like Monty Python, but, when I was a lad, men were men when they played football, I'll tell you, But, JC, I mean, yes, you were there, and I'm conscious that, you sat in your car and you've probably got pizza in the oven or something when you get home.
I've got all the time in the world.
Brilliant. Thanks for
There's a lot of traffic out there.
Oh, yes, I would imagine so. But, first of all, the substitutions. I would imagine Inacho got a good reception. What was Maddison's reception like? Because he came on, and to me, he didn't change the game.
Not the best, Chris. I mean, as soon as he came on, people were umming and ahhing straight away, saying, well, what's he going to do? I mean, he weren't on for that long, to be honest. And to me, he didn't bring anything to the game. It just seems to be... It's really awkward because he seems to come on and he's not putting anything into the game. There's no spark, there's no creativity, there's no go from him, and I just didn't really see the point in that substitution whatsoever.
Would you be better bringing on Daka possibly?
Absolutely. I mean, my personal opinion. I mean, Daka. I mean, the last couple of games, every time he's came on, I mean, as soon as he's on, he's giving it all. I mean, he's chasing balls, he's chasing down, and, he brings a lot to the game, and I just can't understand why we are not starting him. Because
he won't play 2 up front, and he's got Jamie Vardy, I guess. But David there, hello again, David, saying like, they weren't getting yellow cards for time wasting. I mean, I think in the first half, I think it was, or probably the second half, the referee certainly made a point of pointing at his watch towards Pope in the Burnley goal. And the disgusting actions of Cornet for Burnley, like I say, running off the pitch, getting injured, coming back on and going down a foot. I was watching Schmeichel. I actually thought Schmeichel was actually going to pick him up and drag him off the pitch at one point. He'd have probably got a huge cheer. He might have got a red card, but he got a huge cheer if he had done. And I do know Cornet did get a yellow card for that. But
I mean, we were fuming. We was absolutely fuming in the stadium. I mean, Cornet, it was so deliberately. He did that to take the the sting out of the game. I mean, you know, who knows what could have happened, but he slowed the game down as much as possible. And you know, he fell down. I mean, there was absolutely really nothing wrong with him. He took as long as he could, and you know, it's really frustrating when this happens.
I mean, Brad, I'm probably going to get a lot of stick, certainly off Dan, our Burnley fan friend, because I did say he deserves to be out for a long time for what he did, and I'm sorry, because to me, some would call it gamesmanship. To me, it's just plain cheating.
I think it's anti-football to the best of degrees. Look, we all know it. In the 80th minute, you 1-0 up. You don't do it. Leicester do it. Leicester were famous for doing it when they were winning games 1-0. We all remember them times. Yeah. But to do it from the kickoff, that tells me you're scared. That tells me they're probably. Do you remember when Arsenal celebrated that win like they won against us 2-1 when they, because they won the April Premier League title that season, didn't they? It's not like Leicester won it. I feel like Burnley must be in that dressing room going, yeah, we played 3 minutes of football and got a point. Yeah, that's how sad and shameful their football was. They must be in that dressing room having a party. It was anti-football. It was shameful. 80th minute onwards, I ain't got an issue with it. Any team does it. It's part and parcel of football, has been for years. From the first minute, I was like, am I watching the last 5 minutes or the first 45? Because what is going on with Burnley? They're throwing themselves to the floor. They did get walking to the corner flag, to the other corner flag, then to his thing. I agree with what David said. I agree with the comment that David put. There should have been yellow cards. In fact, I'd make it a flat-out rule. You get a warning, you get a yellow card, then you're off.
Yeah. I mean, to me, Burnley were going
punishment.
Yeah, Burnley were going down easier than a Nelson girls' knickers on a Saturday night out, to be honest with you. But that'll get me hate mail as well. But to me, I take gamesmanship and I take time wasting, but not at the in the last 5 minutes or so, not at the end of the first half. And to be honest with you, not so bloody obvious. I mean, that was up there with as obvious as the Italian cheat in the Euros when we went down like a sack of spuds. Italy scored and he was well enough to get up and run after him to celebrate. To me, it's just cheating. And why can not necessarily VAR, but the FA look back at these incidents and go, that wasn't right. You're going to get a 1-game ban or something. That would just cut it out totally.
I mean, something's got to change. I mean, they was worried in the first half. I mean, I thought, the first half, I thought, obviously the own goal. I mean, you kind of shrug that one off and say, well, it was an unlucky one. But, it's that, I mean, I thought the first half, we looked sharp. We were putting balls up and I thought, wait a minute, this is going to be our day. But then that's when they decided to start with the dirtiness to do what they did. And I just felt, I mean, that to me, that's not football. That's definitely not football.
No. Be interesting to say, I've actually just invited Dan on. I am actually seeing him Monday night, but he hasn't replied yet. So we'll see. We'll see if he wants to come on and defend Cornet. As somebody said the other day, he prefers a Magnum. But Brookline from America, hello again. He didn't get clipped. It was a VAR check, and unfortunately, I think he just tripped over the ball. We looked different when Castagna came on. Brad, there's got to be an argument for starting him. He seems to have more of an impact than Ricardo is at the moment.
Yeah, he does. I think Ricardo was clearly brought on for that slow, methodical first half of you. I think people could argue that on his day, Ricardo has shown that he is quite good going forward, but I think he was told to concentrate on his defensive duties and was kind of restricted in going forward. But every time I saw Castagna in the ball, it was on the halfway line. More times than not, he was getting the ball. He was getting forward. And like I said, Chris, as predictable as it was, once the changes were made, once these players were injected into the game, and aside from Lootman and Vardy, and maybe Barnes, who were doing what they do best, which was give that energy in the first half. They had the backup, they had the support, and they looked threatening. That's when Leicester came alive and Leicester turned up. I'm just really sick of saying, and it ends. I'm sick of ending that sentence with Leicester City turned up in the second half.
Yes.
At least with more aggression. I do agree with Jason in the first 20, 30 minutes we were better. But again, it was still slow and methodical.
Now, you two are probably going to a mere children compared to the granddad that I nearly am. And I've got to be honest with you, you probably won't remember this, but I think it was when Jock Wallace was manager. And we were playing okay, but we went down that season. He brought us up. I think they suggested, Leicester, that you get a point if you win the first half, and this was because there was only 2 points, and a point if you win the second half. I mean, we'd be top of the league if we introduced that now, wouldn't we, Jason?
I think we would. I mean, we definitely wouldn't be in the position where we are right now. That's for sure.
I've got to be honest with you, I'm going to be supporting Tottenham tomorrow, just to keep Arsenal below us. Eddie Bland said here on Facebook, Brad, Lookman, best player on the park. Let's take him off. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I felt that. And I think, look, it's never nice to be a player that's in your own kit that comes on the pitch. And I know there's a few players out there that frustrate us, some on this panel. I can't click a name or say who it is that it frustrates. But when they come on, you've got to cheer them. And I understand the frustrations because I was sat there going, oh, okay, take our best creative player that injects pace and had Burnley backpedaling off to put Maddison on. On paper, it looks like Leicester have gone for the second option to start. If you said that and just looked at the stats and the changes and the goals, you'd have thought, oh, well, Lookman's obviously clearly not done it, so that's why they've reverted back to Maddison. It wasn't anything of the sort. Maddison is a player that we spoke about this. We said he didn't need to start. We got our wish. Lookman had a great game. And unfortunately, Maddison didn't do what you expect someone of his caliber to do when their position is under threat, is come on and take the game by storm. He won a free kick. And that was it. That's all I remember him doing. I don't remember him being involved in anything else of note. Did you, Jason?
Sorry, absolutely not.
Sorry,
I mean,
Jason,
absolutely not. I mean, as Brad says, I mean, when he came on, that was his time to shine. That was his time to put something in the game, to dug it out, you know, show his qualities, show what he's all about. You know, these are the games where he should be making the most of coming onto the pitch. But yet again, we're not seeing that at the moment, and I don't know when or if we're going to still see that.
I mean, excuse me, I was watching it in a little way on the computer, and I'm not sure who the co-commentator was on there, but you know, when he says, you know, oh, Casper's not having good distribution today, normally his distribution is really good, I'm thinking maybe you don't really know what you're talking about. But then he did actually say when we brought Maddison on, it was just a like for like swap with Lookman. Right. Surely we needed something different, because the like for like, it wasn't working, you know. So why take off a flat tire and put another flat tire back on, Jason?
Absolutely it. I mean, it's like, I mean, I can't see how it can be a like for like when Lookman comes on. I mean, look how good he is compared to Maddison. I mean, there's no comparison right now. I mean, Lookman, it was spot on. I mean, he's putting everything into the game. For me, absolutely, it's a no-go. Not quite sure where he's getting his information or if he's seen the correct game, but definitely not for me.
No. And Brad, I mean, I don't want to get too excited. I've said this before about Lookman because I got a bit excited about Genghis under, and he did go under. But Lookman, no pun intended here, Lookman looks the business. To me, he's one of the few, apart from Inacho, apart from Daka, that actually wants to get at the opposition.
Yeah, I said it in the cup game. I said it against Brighton. When he plays, you can hear it in the crowd. Even in that first half, even when Burnley were 1-0 up, when he got that ball, he just got the ball and turned. He didn't get the ball under his foot. look at it, look up and look left and right to see who we could pass it to. He was like, no, I'm the number 10. I know what I've got to do. I've got to see you later, mate, in midfield, whoever you are trying to mark me. I'm off. Who's in front of me? And you could hear it because the crowd just sort of, instead of going, oh, we're going to go forward, you could hear the, well, go on, mate, go on. You could hear it in the crowd. And he's a player that excites us for that reason because, again, not to compare it to under too much, I want to kind of get off that, but in a sense, when we've had players in that role or that position doing that before for us, we've always got to a point when the attack's got, and it's either been brought to a hole or we've gone, oh, for God's sake, what was that for a ball? Or what was that for a shot? Everything to a point that Lukeman has done, you've gone, oh, that was unlucky, or oh, it looks good. I mean, he's helping the wide men as well as helping Vardy. You cannot ask for more than that. And, you know, it adds devastating effect when a commentator is telling the fans that are watching the game that the new boy, the loanee, is coming off for a light for light, and you're not going, Leicester are going for it, they're throwing on the big guns, they're giving, you know, you're not hearing that from a commentator who maybe doesn't see Leicester play every week like we do, tells you how much in a world above, right now on form, Lookman is to Maddison. If Lookman starts as well, and I know you're probably going to get onto this, Chris, but by God, does Nacho have to score 7 goals in one game to get a start? Because that's another player now that you move on to going, get him on the pitch from the start, not 70 minutes on the clock.
I mean, I'll come to that first with you, Jason. I'm like I said at the start, I don't get when we finished. And I'd like to say Brendan was a tactical genius, but he wasn't. He stumbled into the Vardy and Nacho partnership because of the injuries he had with Barnes and Maddison at the same time. But when it works so well on the whole, and yet you start the new season, you go, yeah, now I'll go back to Jamie Vardy as a one-up. And we know Jamie Vardy, I mean, you know, he got a hat-trick technically today. I think he should have been given the match ball. But, you know, how often do we see him up front and he's just not getting the service?
You've got to go for a 4-4-2 option, and Nacho's a must start. I mean, each time he comes on, 9 times out of 10, he's putting the ball in the back of the net. I mean, Vardy's getting no service, and for me, I'd start Nacho. I would, and I can't. I mean, Brendan's tactics at the moment are just not working. It is simple as that. We know it. We've seen it the last 3 games. We've got to start changing something. For me, you've got to bring on someone who can supply Jamie with the ball to put it in the back of the net. But although you look at Nacho and he's scoring as well. I mean, it is no, it's no rocket science. We can see it, and I don't know why he can't see it.
I mean,
but we've got to.
You look at Nacho, and you go, all right, you know, we know we've got a big squad now, so we know there are going to be changes. But Nacho has been with us when we didn't have a big squad, and he'd come on, he'd score a couple, and he'll just get dropped. And, you know, we love Jamie Vardy, we know, but he can't always do it on his own. And it did work so well. How, at the ground, Jason, how are the crowd reacting to Brendan? You know, he's done so much for us. And, you know, he is the guy, I believe, to take us forward. He's probably the best manager we've had, I think, since Nigel Pearson. And I'm including Claudio in there because I think Claudio, it was fortuitous when he came. But how are the crowd reacting to Brendan?
I mean, I think Leicester fans really like him. I mean, they understand Brendan, and Brendan's brought a lot into Leicester, you know, and he's done a wonderful job. And I mean, we as Leicester fans, we understand, you know, we might not win every game, but at the moment, I think there's some uncertainty, but I wouldn't say that it's like, you know, as Leicester fans, we want him out, because that's not what we need. No. What we need is consistency. That's exactly what we're looking. We're not looking to win every single game. I mean, Brad would probably agree with me, and so would you, Chris. We understand we won't win every game, but we've got to bring into the game something we're going to look sharp, something that we're going to, you know, tactical, something that we're going to be watching the games. And it's going to be, we're looking for something that's different, explosive, something to say to the Premier League, you know what, Leicester are here. At the moment, we're just in silence.
Yeah. Brad, I mean, yes, we don't expect to win every game, but if we want to be consistently taken seriously, and we're only going to be taken seriously if we're finishing, not necessarily in the top four, but fifth, sixth, season in, season out, we've got to be beating teams like Brighton. We've got to be beating teams like Burnley. And I say no disrespect to them at all, but they are teams we should be beating.
No, they are. And if you are a top six side or want to be considered a top six or a top seven side and playing European football consistently, they are the teams that you need to be, and as cliche as it is, you need to be beating at home and getting something from them away. You need to not be dropping points from them. Now, can Leicester eradicate that? Yes, they can with the clear and this is the thing, we're all brilliant armchair managers. We're all brilliant managers from the stands. We all know this. But I agree with Jason. Brendan Shawley, the manager he is, and he's a great manager. He's a very good manager. He's up there with me, one of the best, probably top three managers that Leicester have had in terms of not just the success he's brought to Leicester, League Cup semi-final, an FA Cup winners, English Super Cup winners, just for you, Chris. Top five finishes back to back. You don't get that by just being an average Joe manager. Ask Arteta.
No.
He'll know all about that.
Yes.
But what you need to do as a manager, and this is something that I'm going to say a swear word here to upset Leicester fans, but Celtic fans suggested that sometimes Brendan can get a bit stubborn in his ways. That maybe he acknowledges the fact that something needs to change, but he is convinced that this 4-3-2-1 or whatever it is can work, and we can recover / capitalise on anything we do in that 45 minutes, half an hour, and then change it and bring on these electric players like your Lukemans, your Nachos. I believe I'm, not even saying Madison that, but we could bring these players on that inject that raw pace and forward thinking. I don't know how long he thinks we can get away with this. Of course, if he does change things up, and Leicester suddenly win 3 on the bounce, you're then talking about getting 10 points out of 12. And I like to maybe bring things back to the point that Leicester can only be as good as their previous game. My other concern, I think the biggest concern that maybe needs to be looked at, which I don't know how they can do it if Evans isn't fit. We certainly can't do it for another couple of months without JJ not being back. We can't do it until the end of the season, if at all, with Fofana, is going back to my Sky Sports quality graphic. We cannot concede 2 goals from a goalkeeper going, "Hey, Vidra, here you go, mate." Oh, unlucky. Because that's when they carved us open. We can't allow that just as much as we can't afford to be too slow going forward. So it's not just the forward thinking, it's the backward thinking we've got to work out.
Yeah.
Maybe get Casper some new boots for his kicking as well. I don't know how else to solve his problem. Maybe get him a hypnotist that meditates his state of mind for his distributions. I don't know, but
let's not forget Vidra was playing for Watford when they knocked us out of the playoff that time. So
that was a pre-season friendly, mate. That didn't happen.
JJ says here, not the JJ, why do we keep trying to play out from the back when 1, Casper can't kick, 2, we lose the ball consistently and put us under pressure, 3, I don't remember it ever working. It hasn't, but it's let's say the Liverpool way, but I grew up watching Liverpool play that way, and it worked for them. They never panicked. They went down, and they always knew that if they were patient, they'd get a goal. And normally, they did. But Jason, let me come to you first, because we have a gentleman, Alan, who you've seen the show. You probably know he does the team manager ratings, picks his man of the match, and he always does that as soon as he leaves the stadium, because he knows normally I put it straight up. I haven't today because we've come in early because of yourself, and we didn't want to keep you waiting. Otherwise, it's usually start late. So it'd be interesting to see, because obviously he's at the games all the time, whether you agree with his assessment. And Brad's not seen these yet either for first. So this will be interesting for Brad. But basically, what he's done, he's gone. He's only given Brendan 4. He gave the team 5, and his man of the match was Lookman. I completely agree with Lookman. For me, he was man of the match from what I saw. And the problem I have when I'm trying to sort of give the team a rating, and I've got my blue tinted spectacles on, is we looked very pretty, because we are doing this tippy tappy, passing it, 3 or 4 times as of Brad's graph, if you like. But it doesn't actually do anything for us. I mean, you were there. How would you agree with him? Is he being harsh?
I'm struggling with. I mean, I agree on the man of the match without a doubt. I mean, that's not even up for discussion, I don't think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with a team. That's the problem. All I'm seeing is it's like Vardy, Lookman, and probably Harvey Barnes. Struggling with the rest. I just don't think I probably would. It's difficult because I don't want to give them a lower rating. But other than that, it's probably 50% on what he's giving. But managers, from the manager's perspective, he's probably looking at that, if I'm honest with you. I don't think today deserves any more than that. I think he could have had his tactics far better. And I can't say it enough, and I think you guys really agree. Well, I hope. But the formation, we've got to adjust that. We've got to go for a 4-4-2. And we're saying this all the time, week in and week out. I just hope the penny's going to fall, because at the moment, it's not dropping on the floor.
We said this recently with Craig. We need to go back, because somebody much better than us once said it. We're going to play 4-4-2, and I think I'm a 4-4-2 lover. Good evening to Devils United, Maisie, Man United fan there. Get over to her channel. Might want to give her a bit of stick today, because we got a point, which was one more than Man United got today. Sorry,
but
Maisie.
We were lucky though, Chris. We were very lucky today.
We were. But hey, we're still allowed to take the piss out of Man United.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's got to be a sign of the apocalypse when Fernandes misses a penalty, innit?
It has. Brad, your thoughts on the man of the match ratings, etc.?
Man of the match isn't even in contention for me. Even though Vardy scored a perfect hat-trick, one in the wrong net, turn right, it's Vardy, he's 5 goals in 7 games. So I'm running out of surplus to sing for him, but he wasn't even close to Lookman. And that's a guy who scored 2 goals for us. That essentially saved the match for us. And I'm saying he wasn't even close to Lookman, because he just wasn't. Nobody was. And it's really, I've got to agree rightly with Jason. I agreed with you in the chat before we came on, mate, when you said there was probably 3 names that you'd come out of. The thing is, I back to the stubbornness point with Brendan, and that's why I agree with Alan. He's 4 spot on, because his stubbornness to not. Yes, he put Lookman in, which is what fans wanted. He didn't put Nacho in, which fans really wanted. He kept the shape, and he didn't do enough to change. He almost like he put Lookman into a piece of fans and hoped we'd get away with not having Nacho in the starting 11, not changing the system up, and it didn't work. For me, the team rating. You've got to give that on a first half performance compared to the second half performance, and it probably does balance out to a 5. I think in the second half, when they were given a bit more urgency and a bit more freedom with Castagne and Nacho on the pitch, it was probably a 6 or a 7, because the effort was there. But I think on basis of the first half, the way they conceded the goals, how shaky they looked, I can't disagree with Alan's ratings, to be honest with you. But again, something has to change. I think Brendan's stubbornness has to go. Maybe you sacrifice Harvey Barnes and go 4-3-1-2, and you have Lookman in that role, or you play Nacho with Vardy, or even if you bizarrely want to drop your best player for 2 games, which he's not prone to doing, you go Nacho plays there, you have Barnes and Vardy starting as your 2. I don't know. I'm running out of ideas to figure it out for Brendan, but he's got to cave into his tactical and slow, methodical first half tactic that he plays. It's got to stop.
Agreed.
David is pretty much agreeing with you here. I hate to point it out, but to be fair, despite his 2 goals, Vardy missed a header earlier. Brendan is too damn stubborn, as you said. He just seems to think that he sees something that we don't see. You know, a lot of somebody, I think it was Rob Tanner at the Athletics, when we were talking about the P word, said he's probably not as bad as we think he is, but he's not as good as Brendan thinks he is. And maybe Brendan, I know he takes a lot on board from what happened at training, but, you know, you've got, you know, it's what you can do on the pitch as well. If Mays is still in, and I know, I'm sorry, Aston Villa, you don't like playing teams in claret and blue, do you? West Ham beat you, now Villa. This is just for you, Maisie. And in fairness, I can't do that and then not do this.
Oh, Jason, you have to go back and watch that prediction show, mate, because her laugh was contagious throughout the whole thing. I think we had a mare of a week because we went doolally with our predictions the way she was laughing.
Well, we're going to go on to predictions afterwards because we had a bit of a mare this week. But, Jason, I mean, Brad made and JJ made the point in the chat there. The best managers make the difficult decisions. You know, they will sit there and they will look at and go, why didn't you pick that guy? You know, he's our best player. And the manager says, but we've won the game. We've won the cup. You know, is Brendan not quite there with being able to do that, do you think?
No, because he's got to let go of that. I mean, yeah, we won that. But now this is a new start of a season. We don't look behind at Leicester. We look for the future.
Yeah.
So we've got to get past it. We've got to drop that act. And then, you know, you clean the slate and then you go from there. But as I said, when you keep on making the same mistakes time after time, you've got to make these changes.
Sorry, I'm just doing my goldfish impression there because I was just going to have a look at the table, but it's Brentford 1, Liverpool 1 at the moment.
Yeah, I just think
says it all.
Yeah. But did you say that before, Brad?
No, I just noticed it and I forgot to mention it.
I'm like, whoa. I mean, we are still, where are we? Sitting in 12th place. Palace could easily overtake us. Southampton could overtake us because they've got a better goal difference. Arsenal could overtake us just, no, they'd have to win because they've got an awful goal difference. So we could actually be down to 15th. And this time last season, we were 4th, 5th. The season before that, we were 4th, 5th. Like I said, it's right at the start, Brad. Is this the season when, you know, it makes us take a reality check?
It shouldn't have to. I don't think there's anything unrealistic about most Leicester fans. I think most Leicester fans would say a top 8 finish, another good cup run, with fingers crossed we can add to our glowing silverware collection. But you take challenging and being at least competitive and around the top 8. I think even the most pessimistic of Leicester fans would be going, even though it's a competition of hot topic that teams apparently want to avoid like the plague, I think even if they got the Europa Conference but had a good season, it would still feel like a season. I think the biggest concern is, and Jason alluded to it already, and I'm just going to press on it, was this game we've gone maybe Barnes, Luton, Vardy. For the last 2 seasons or 3 seasons when we've structurally used this style of play, we've gone 6, 7, 8, 9, the whole entire 11. We've praised and said I've had an amazing game. If the fact that we can barely get 3 to 4 names picking for who had a standout performance doesn't tell the manager enough that it's not, that something's got to change, whether it's a fresh idea, a fresh formation or whatever, because they must do this. We saw it in the pre-season, didn't we, Chris? First half was what we see every week. Second half was 2 up front. We looked electric. We looked better. We always were saying on our pre-match shows that in the second half, Leicester looked more about it. Surely, when the time every season ends, and look at how it went throughout the season, not just at the start or the middle at the end, but the collectiveness, surely Brendan and his team, for as much praise as they get, went, maybe we need to mix it up a bit, because we've done this now for 3 seasons, and in the last 2 seasons it's collared us. It's kind of, we've faltered out and we've ended up dropping from 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th down to 5th, and then luckily, in a way, the last season or two, we were lucky that we were running out of games to really throw it away. Some fans were arguing, because we could have, if that's how you start the season, guess what? The 12th. That's where we are now. Our form is in comparison to the end of the last 2 seasons. And Leicester need to find something to sort that out. If we do that, we'll be where we're expecting to be. I don't think Leicester, I don't think any fans should tailor their expectations to an underperforming squad.
No,
because that's
Jason,
what we're seeing.
Just seeing here what Brendan comment on Leicester's start to the season. It's 6 games. Of course, we would have liked to have done better. When any team is confident you have a greater chance to succeed, there's lots for us to improve on. I mean, reading between the lines, when he says, when any team is confident you have a greater chance to succeed, you know, he's got a team here that has been in Europe for 2 seasons, just won the FA Cup. We've made some brilliant signings. What is there not to be confident about?
Well, I think that's a bit of a cop-out, if I'm honest with you, Chris. And I genuinely think he's using that to his advantage of the mistakes that he's made. But sooner or later, he's going to have to change things, because he's not going to have anything to back him up with in the end. I mean, by making that statement is, you know, again, same as what Brad said. I mean, we've had last 3 seasons that have been brilliant. But we need to stop saying this, and what we need to do now is perform. So if he's saying about the mistakes, why is he not fixing these mistakes?
Yes, yeah. Everybody dive under the table here, because I think we're going to get a lot of tomatoes and eggs thrown at Bookline, actually. We're now seeing the value of you can throw tomatoes at me now. I think we'll leave that comment.
I'm sulking, Brookline. I used to like you, Brookline. I'm on the right sub now. You just mentioned his name and brought him in. No, that's it. I'm sulking. I'm not coming back on camera, Chris.
Come on, your adoring female fans will be disappointed. You're the only one on here with hair, so you've got to stay on. Brendan said about the game, we showed a really good reaction, but conceded too early to go 2-1 behind. You have to give credit to Burnley and some of the blocks they made. But I mean, surely we should be better than that.
Just say that first part to me again, Chris.
Sorry, just very briefly, Dan at Turf Morehouse has just commented. I'll bring that up in a second, Dan. If you want to pop on for 5, I know we've got the full show on Monday. If you want to pop in on for 5, message me, and I've sent you a message on Twitter. We'll bring you on for 5, and we won't have a go at you. Basically, Brendan said we showed a really good reaction, but conceded too early to go 2-1 behind.
Stop it there, mate. We showed a really good reaction. That sounds like the response to being 2 down against Brighton. It sounds like the response to being 1-0, 0-0 with Wolves. It sounds like the response that's been given to every game this season when it's not gone right. Why is there a response? Why is there not an immediate reaction? Why is there not an immediate fear in drag? Why were we not pummeling the absolute fear of God into Burnley from the start? Why did we have to go 1-0 down? Why did we have to get to half time before we go, let's react to that crap? Because long and short,
spot on.
It was. So, I'm agreeing with you, Jason. It's a cop-out to say that. It's a cop-out again to say, oh, we reacted. Shouldn't have to react. We should have walked off that pitch going, that's how you do it. We should have given Conor McGregor, mate. We should have been waltzing into that. And if we'd have done that from the first half, what we did in the second half, the way we moved the ball quicker forward, we would have been like Conor McGregor, just going, because we'd have put 4 or 5 past Burnley.
Yeah. I mean, it seems to me, Brad, he's treating this like some kind of under 21s or a reserve team, you know, with that statement.
It does in a way,
Yeah.
mate. It feels like a
Yes.
Papa John's trophy for the under-23s has been kicked off. He's not realised we've started an actual season.
I would understand those comments more if we'd been playing a Chelsea again, a Man City or somebody like that. But as you've just said then, Brad, 100%. And I know, Dan, I don't know if Dan's still watching, and I don't want to belittle Burnley, but, you know, they were second from bottom with 1 point. We should, you know, I said if we conceded first, we would struggle because Burnley would literally park the bus because they were desperate for the points. And I said if we scored first and put the pressure on to Burnley, then we could actually get 4 or 5 because of them sort of coming forward at us and leaving at the back. And I said, no disrespect, but these, if we want to be taken, as I say, seriously, and it is a case, I know, of trying not to sort of, you know, make out that we're bigger than we are, etc. And it's hard to be critical when we remember where we've come from. But you've got to be critical, otherwise you never get any better. You just tread water. And we've got, I don't know, it's just we should have, like you said there, I 100% agree, we should have walked off there going, we're back, this is us now, we've won 4-5-0, you know. Even Arsenal beat this team. And again, no disrespect to Arsenal, but, you know, if you listen to their players, they're no better than Rochdale this season, yet they managed to beat Burnley. I mean,
Sean Dyche came here today and did one on Brendan Rodgers, tactically, mentally, and physically. You know, and we can't take any away from Little Burnley because they did a masterclass today. They knew what there was coming. They knew they had their own game plan. The problem is Leicester just didn't. They went out there today, and I'm not quite sure where Brendan thought he would play in. I knew he would play in. But from what we saw, it just was not good enough today.
But how often are we saying, oh, Brendan was outclassed today, Brendan was outthought? If he's this top manager that Barcelona apparently now want, and Spurs wanted to walk over broken glass to get him, Arsenal were linked with him. If he's such a top manager, we shouldn't be talking about a manager that can only just keep the team up and has taken the team to 1 point after 5 games, out-thinking him and outclassing him. That's what gets me. And this is, we'll have a look at the Burnley point of view here, because this is what Dan at Turf Moorhouse TV, great channel. Go back and look at our chat the other day. All I'll say, Dan, is, hello, Mrs. Riley. Dan knows. Won't say too much as I'll dissect it Monday, but one, I won't defend Cornet. He went off the field, stay off. Yeah, that is my only. That's why I've lost it with Burnley, Dan. You know, I've got a soft spot for Burnley. Now it's the fucking swamp at the bottom of the garden. Again, you equalise from adding another body in midfield, which you talked about being your downfall before. And 3, Wood's goal is debatable. I've got to be honest with you, I didn't see it. That was the silly thing, because I was doing the graphics to the end of the show. And it happened. I do remember those, we talked about it the other day, Dan, a game a few seasons ago when you equalise, or I think you equalised, I think it was in the 91st minute or something. So maybe it was payback time. Brad goes on to say, well, not Brad, you're Brad, aren't you?
Take one at a time.
Well, I've lost one of Dan's comments here, so I apologise, Dan. Don't know where your comment's gone to. I thought you'd commented. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I'm here. The chances you had were there, but we blocked them well. Pope for the equaliser as well. That annoyed me. Just 2 messages with some brief points. Dan, thanks for joining us, mate. And I know he got a little bit annoyed at me when he said it was very, and it probably was. I probably shouldn't have wished harm to Cornet, but I just think
heat of the moment, I think it is. I think it's added frustration when they get injured, and you do kind of feel like, well, good, I'm glad you're injured, but you don't. It's kind of like, just because of the frustration, the way he did it. Fair play to Dan for saying that he as a Burnley fan, wasn't happy to see his player, who clearly was injured, because there's no way you bring him off for the way he was playing.
Had he gone down there and stayed there, I wouldn't have had a problem.
Exactly.
It was the fact that he walked on to fall down that pissed me off. A few hellos here. Is this fair, Jason? Brendan the bottler?
No, I mean, no, I can't say that. I mean, obviously, there's going to be a lot of City fans really peed off today, to be honest with you. But bottlers probably taking it to another level, or probably give it another, I don't know, probably 6-7 games, and then we'll probably review that comment to see where we're at. I just think he needs to sort it out. I mean, if you have a look at let me bring you back to the Cornet's goal, first goal. 2 minutes later, what happens? Cross comes in. Again, almost had a second goal. He should have been recognising these things that are going on with the tactical. He should have seen this.
I think that's why Castagna came on. I think that's why Castagna came on, because he left him open and free both times, mate.
Yeah,
I think that's again. But again, to agree, it was a change too late. It should have been done with at the start if he knew Castagna was going to deal with him better.
Can I just say it's very nice to see Sean Dyche getting a tune out of Cornet, isn't it?
Mate, it's almost embarrassing because we was nearly beaten by a flipping ice cream cone.
Oh, I'm here all week.
Just quickly, Jason, I'm a goalkeeper myself, as I may have mentioned. I don't know if I've ever let that slip, Chris, that I was a goalkeeper myself.
You've almost kept that as quiet as Sky have, that Ronaldo's re-signed for Man United.
I know, right? Breaking news. But just from a fan's perspective, because you saw it in the stand, would you maybe question Schmeichel's reaction to Cornet's goal? Because to me, he seemed a bit like he was stood in the wrong position. He looked jaded the way he dived for it. Like a salmon, kind of like a plank. It was kind of like he threw himself that way and went. It didn't look natural to the goalkeeper in this position, or was it one of them that you just say he can't save that? It's one of them. I don't know. For me, it looked a little bit like he could have done better. You were in the stands.
Yeah.
Did you guys get the feeling?
Yeah, he could have done better. 100%. Absolutely. He definitely could have done better. I mean, again, with Schmeichel as well, I mean, you could probably throw things at his way as well with how his distribution is as well. So I think he's got to work on himself. But from what I've seen today, could have done better.
Right, what I want to do now very quickly, because as I say, poor Jason there is still stuck in his car, and I'm sure the traffic's gone now. So thank you for staying. We're going to have a look. We're not going to pick and rate the players. We're going to have a look at how the fans rated the players. Do you want to stay for this, Jason, or do you want to pop off?
No, go on.
I'm fine.
That'll be fine.
Sonny, when we win, it's only a short program. It's funny when we lose, it's a lot longer. Right, let's just bring this in then, because it's very, very interesting, because these obviously are voted for by fans. Now, whether the fans at the match, I don't know, fans that have watched it, but it's interesting that the four bottom, and I say that advisedly, the four bottom players there that have got ratings are defenders and a goalkeeper. What are your thoughts on that? First of all, Jason. So you got Vestergaard was our worst player, Bertrand second worst, Soyuncu third worst, and Schmeichel fourth worst.
Well, I mean, Soyuncu, we all know that he's not having the greatest of games. Vestergaard, and Bertrand, I'm not quite sure if that's the correct order that I would be going for at all. I'm not keen on that at all.
It does seem a bit contradicted to what I thought I saw. But then again, like you say, it is all about opinions, isn't it?
I mean, Brad, absolutely.
Brad, let's take you further up. I mean, Maddison getting more than those players. I can't see that. Sumari, the gentleman on Twitter, Buffalo Leicester fan from North America, thought Sumari had one of his best games for us. Pierre, probably about Barnes and Ndidi, all under 6. What do you think about that, Brad?
I think that just, I think if you digest it, because you've got to remember, whilst them ratings are a bit questionable, and there's probably a few you'd swap around, and you could argue maybe for what your expectancy of certain players are, they deserve to be higher or lower for what they performed in. For me, it just shows that we're not quite that electric in the midfield, because I'm guessing it, and if he's not, then the fans didn't really click on the voting system properly. But apart from the players like Lookman and Vardy that we mentioned had probably a stellar game, and I'd agree with that tweet that Tomori had a very good game for the role he was taking on. The midfield was bang average, and when 75% of your defence is in the bottom half of how well did they perform out of 10, that alerts to the situation. Let's look at the goals we conceded, is probably why the defence, although there wasn't any catastrophes and errors for what they did, minus Schmeichel's distribution with the ball. And Sion probably had a match where he didn't make a glaring error that cost us, like it has been doing. I think when 75% of your defence is at a 5 or lower in terms of performance levels, you kind of see the bigger picture of why Leicester did not walk out of that game with all 3 points.
Yeah. Jason, the top half there, probably about right. Tillemans, Lookman, they're 6.10. Castagna, I think he did have a good effect when he came on. Vardy obviously got 3 goals, so he's going to be up there. Nice that he scored more for us than Burnley. And Inacho has got the most points.
So then why don't we play him, though? That's the problem.
Exactly.
It's like the problem and the solution stare you in the face at the same time, doesn't it?
When you see them statistics and you see what they're on how they are, it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
I think fans would have given Evans like an 8 just for being on the bench if he'd have come on. I feel like just the frustration and the solution being sat on the bench that tells you how fans are feeling with their voting, because Nacho's top and he's ahead of everybody else's man of the match, and he's ahead of a guy who scored the perfect hat-trick. In the wrong net. Well, 2 in the right, 1 in the wrong.
I can't agree with that at all. I'm sorry. Maxwell Cornet, man of the match, the cheat that he is, and fraud. And I am going to call him out here. I'm going to call him out. Maxwell Cornet, you are a cheat. Simple as. You are a cheat.
Not that nice of an ice cream anyway.
Yeah. Not that he'll ever watch this, but we'll have to get Sean Dyche on as well on Monday. That'd be interesting. Yeah.
Well, right. I've got to say, I hope, boys, that he watches back on what he did, and I hope he sees that he was in the wrong, and I think I just hope, he takes some responsibility of that, because, that sort of stuff, that's not football.
No. And it's good that Dan, and he's a great guy, Dan, so we went on to do a preview on Thursday night, and usually his preview is about 30 minutes, and it was over 2.5 hours. If I say to Brad that it was one of Richie's type shows, he'll know what I mean. 2.5 hours, and I think about 10 minutes of that, if we were lucky, was actually about football. Hello, Mrs. Riley. So Brookline says, check out the Aston Villa goal regarding offsides. And David says, I say Samori had a better game than Piera today. Yuri had a frustrating game as he made some really great passes and then some abominable overhit ones. We couldn't seem to hit the big white thing with sort of a net in it, could we, with some of our shots? So we're going all over the place. I'll come to you first, Jason, and then you with this last question. Are we in danger of losing it this season? When do we stop saying, well, it's only 6 games, it's only 7, it's only 8?
I'd give up the cut-off point at 10 games, and then I would start to question the manager's decision making. I would start to question everything, because after 10 games, if you fall in points, you're not going to finish in the top 5. The Premier League is a very challenging, league. As we all know this year now, other clubs are doing, picking up points, and they're picking up points fast.
Yes. Yeah. Brad?
It should have started after Brighton. It should have started after Brighton. It really should have, when people should have been going, right, okay, you've alerted to the fact that we were better in the second half. We've all agreed with you that Lukeman and Nacho made things better. We were unlucky. Okay, going forward, oh, it's Maddison and it's Perez and it's Vardy up front on his own, bless him, again. It was like the answers were given to him. He acknowledged the answers and he hasn't done it. I don't like this 10-game thing. I think it's a farce. You've got about 3 games for me to get it going. You can excuse an opening day up. You can excuse getting a Man City and then maybe picking up 4 to 6 points in your first 3 games, depending on who you're playing. After that, there ain't no excuses. It's the Premier League. It's the Premier League.
The only saving grace, I guess, is the fact that it wasn't so long ago we were moaning about losing to Blackpool and when all these teams in the Championship. But hey, this is Leicester. It is nothing if not a roller coaster ride. Jason, welcome along to the team. Thanks for coming on. It's great to have somebody there. Shame you couldn't get any fans, but I guess, like you say, they were a bit abusive to you, but you tried. You know, they probably weren't in the mood for talking after that. But,
I told them, save the boxing for later.
Yeah, exactly. But welcome along to the team, and we will see you hopefully. Are you going to Palace?
Yeah, I'll be going to Palace, yeah.
Will you be driving back from Paris? From Paris?
No, we're going. Paris. No, we're going to be going on the coach.
So it might be able to get you on there. Yeah. Well, you've got plenty of people to talk to then. Get on the.
There you go.
If it goes wrong, he's got more. He's got a collective coach to tell him to piss off and come on the show if we lose.
Yeah. Tell them I want to hear songs. I want to hear, but no bad language.
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually, just in case it does get out of hand, I have got this I can use in the top right-hand corner there, just as a warning to everybody.
Then you're going to need it if we lose.
Yeah, we will. Hey, have a safe journey home, mate. Thanks for sticking about and coming on. Mate. Welcome along, and
welcome, Brad. Welcome, Chris.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, we'll let Jason go. Great to have him on, isn't it? And nice to have, because obviously we used to have. Yes, we did. We used to have a next player on, didn't we? Julian Watts. I wanted to say Richard Watts. I knew I was wrong. I was morphing Julian Watts into Richard Smith and coming out with that would have been a good defender. We used to have, but of course, now that the games are all over and they're not on telly so much, he doesn't see the games. But that does lead me very much into. Don't forget. Tuesday at 9 o'clock, everybody, that we have the special show with Julian Watts when we will be looking back at the week's action. We might go a little bit further back on this one because it is the first one, so it might be a little bit of catch up. But he'll be talking about things from a professional's point of view. So we've had it from the fan at the game today, which was great. We'll have it from the professional's point of view Tuesday at 9 o'clock. Brad. It wasn't just us. I mean, I know we had the bit of a joke with Chelsea and what have you earlier, and it wasn't just us that have had bad games today. I mean, just quickly looking through them there, Man City beat Chelsea 1-0. Villa Man United. I mean, I never saw that coming. Everton Norwich, I think we got that right. Possibly West Ham Leeds.
I know I've got the West Ham game right because I said Leeds were in trouble. So I picked up something from this weekend.
Well, shall we have a look? Shall we just have a look and just see how we? I didn't look at the old long ball.
I've got right, mate. I think I went Watford to win, us to win, Everton, Man U, and Chelsea. I think I've had 2 savers there. But let's have a look. Let's see how we actually have done.
Let's have a look here. So Right, this was week 6, wasn't it? So, well, we both got the Man City and Villa wins wrong. We all got Everton. Surprise, surprise. Yeah. You got West Ham. Well done, sir.
Yeah.
You got West Ham. None of us got the Leicester Burnley.
The one time you don't use the Burnley heritage to a chance and sat on the fence for that game, mate. You won't be doing that again, will you?
No, not at all. And it was Charlie, the Man City fan, who must be happy this weekend seeing Man City win and Man United lose. He went for the draw between Watford and Newcastle. You went for Brentford, Liverpool, so that could be interesting. I'm not sure how that is doing at the moment.
I haven't seen any updates. So as far as I'm aware,
it's 2-1 Liverpool.
Oh, well, there you go.
There we go. Come on, Liverpool. Give me a point. Come on, North Macedonia. Brentford are probably better playing against Liverpool than we were against Burnley today.
Probably, mate. They're 1-0 up.
Yeah. Mate, thanks very much as always. And I will see you around. Well, it's next Sunday.
Yes, it will. Will it not be? Is it this Thursday as well, Europa League?
Josh is doing the post-match.
Josh for the I dropped down for one of them. It was this week he couldn't do, wasn't it? It was last week.
Last week he couldn't do, yeah.
So you won't see me again till Sunday?
Oh, no, I'll see you on Tuesday for the Prediction League.
Oh, yes. At
7 o'clock, yes. And I've no doubt we will speak again before that, but we will see post Palace Sunday afternoon when one man and his dog gets pushed out. Brad, definitely. Disappointing, frustrating. We had our rants, but hey. And do you like the fact that I've actually decided I'm going to have so many rants this season that I've actually got a logo for it?
Yeah, you know you're having a bad time when you've got a chance to make a logo because you can guarantee it's going to get used.
Well, I can be honest with you, that's how exciting the game was at times. But today I did that whilst the game was on. Mate, thank you very much. Have a good weekend, or try and have a good weekend, mate. And I'll see you on Tuesday night.
I'll see you then, mate. Cheers, everybody, for joining in, and welcome, Jason.
Yeah, welcome along, Jason, and thanks for joining us as always, Brad. Thanks very much.
No worries. See you later, pal.
Bye-bye. Thanks to Brad there, all knowledgeable, and it's great because we do have difference of opinions, but he knows I'm always right. No, he doesn't know. We all have difference of opinions, and it's good that we can share those. JJ, I don't know if I brought this up, actually, possibly did. No more excuses. We should be winning against Burnley. Yes, we should. And I think I've gone too far back up here, to be honest with you. Nippon coming on at the end there. How the devil are you, sir? I am deviling along fine. Thank you very much. How the devil are you? I'm very good, and I'll just give you one of those. How about that? Just for you, Nippon. Thanks for watching. We will be back Monday night with Dan and possibly Mrs. Riley. Hello. And we'll be looking back at this game from a Burnley fan's point of view and, of course, myself. Prediction League Tuesday at 7. X on the pitch. That's going to be at 9 o'clock on Tuesday following the prediction show. Europa League preview on the Wednesday at 7 o'clock. And then, of course, don't forget it's a 5:45 kickoff against Legia Warsaw. And 8 o'clock, the post-match show on Thursday. And then we're looking towards the Palace game. Look, guys, it was disappointing. Yeah, I feel your pain. Nippon. I really do. Yeah, well, Nippon's just said it all there. I am personally getting worried. I'm not going to lie. But, hey, you know, if nothing else, you know, when you're born and you're a Leicester fan, you get a little Leicester baby grow, and you get a sick bag for the roller coaster ride. Always. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining in. Have a good weekend. I'll see you Monday night. Take care. Good night.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all their social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Come to an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share and get involved. Join us next time.